All right, just giving a couple of seconds for everybody to join in here. All right, welcome everybody to the first session of the Metaverse Summit. We're here with you about NFTs and discovering the creative revolution. We have an amazing panel of guests here to talk to you today. And without further ado, let's go and meet them and find out a little bit about who we've got with us. So Fesk, you're up first. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. How's it going, everyone? It's always a pleasure to be here to talk NFTs for a bit. I'm Fesk. I'm a digital artist and art director from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I've been hanging around on the NFT space since 2020, and over the course of the past year, I had some amazing opportunities to collaborate with brands on some cool projects. And most recently, I released a limited edition car with Nissan, and each edition of the limited edition car is linked with an NFT of mine. So the car was distributed around the Latin America region. So it's pretty cool, like being in the Latin region to see the car flowing the streets, you know, knowing that my NFT is linked to that. So that's a little bit about me. So overall, super excited to chat.
Super cool, man. Working with major brands, releasing NFTs, really bringing them into the creative revolution, right? So that's really, really cool, Fesk. And I guess we'll go to hear more about it shortly. Thanks so much for that. Kyle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for the intro and super excited to be here. Thank you for the GDA Capital team to host us. Previously, I've been an entrepreneur really my whole life. I really kind of started out in the marketing world and built a pretty significant agency, and then kind of caught wind of Ethereum back in 2016. Made my first investment, kind of pivoted my whole marketing company towards crypto because I was so just interested and helped a lot of different businesses and did a lot of ICO investing back in that time. And then a close friend of mine, Andrew Masanto, actually found the Hashgraph white paper, which is now Hedera Hashgraph, a top 30, 40 coin on coin market cap. You may be familiar, but joined that team as a founding member and scaled that to a $6 billion valuation in just 18 months, which was really exciting. And now I have relocated. Actually, I'm originally from Chicago. Then I kind of moved to Manhattan, New York, and now I'm actually down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where I've teamed up with a longtime friend of mine, Jordan Freed, who I also worked very closely with at Hedera Hashgraph, to found Immutable Holdings, which is the blockchain holding company. We took it public in September of last year in Canada with Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank as one of our largest investors. And one of the subsidiary businesses that we are building out now is, of course, NFT.com, which I'm excited to bring to market this year, though we are rather in stealth at this point. So I won't talk too much about what we're doing, but maybe I'll allude to a little bit. So thanks again for having me.
Thanks so much, Carl. That's so awesome. Hearing there, every crypto pioneer's dream, getting to those billion-dollar valuations, moving your life to Puerto Rico and being there in the sun. And just wonderful. Love to hear about that project going forwards on NFT.com. That sounds really exciting. Definitely a domain right in the center of the space there. So big things coming from Carl very, very soon. Bridge, thanks so much, Carl.
Yeah, well, thank you, Johnny, and thank you very much, GDA Capital, for hosting, of course. So my name is Bridge Craven. I first got involved in crypto in 2013 when I was a freshman studying economics. Crypto is really all I've known. After I graduated, I started and grew a couple crypto hedge funds, focusing on the asset management side, really diving deep in DeFi and those weeds. And then in 2019, started Artera Labs, which is where I currently am the CEO full time. And our mission was to bring the most scalable, easy tools for NFTs in the context of fan engagement for brands and organizations. So since we're live on mainnet, on Near, and we're really excited to introduce our technology as an infrastructure provider, targeting the esports and gaming content creation first. So really doubling down, we think 2022 will be the verticalization of NFT marketplaces, and this is our vertical. So we're really excited about that. We have some very exciting large esports orgs, Complexity, and many others that will have their first drops in the coming weeks. So really excited to be here and to talk NFTs. Thank you.
Awesome. You're definitely in the right place for that. And it also sounds totally awesome, Bridge. So as I said before, just such a wonderful group of panelists with such a diverse background. And just very quickly to tell you who I am so that everybody watching puts that into context. I've been a tech entrepreneur for 20 years. I'm probably the youngest crypto entrepreneur here, in the sense that I got into crypto in 2021, only about a year, really. I was actually a denier for a good 5-6 years. Didn't really like the sound of blockchain. Crypto, I didn't have much foresight in it at the time, but things quickly changed as I saw Elon Musk, you know, throwing $1 billion with Tesla into Bitcoin, and eBay and Binance and PayPal and major brands, just as Fesks just talked about, Nissan dropping out NFTs with one of their car launches. So everybody's getting into the game, and everybody knows that really this year it's starting to become apparent. When I came into it a year ago, I was still an amateur. I didn't really know what was going on. And I came in as a creator, a collector, as somebody who was inquisitive, and really found this amazing space here. And what's going on in this space? NFTs and blockchain are really providing that level playing field. It's almost like the years of the 2000s where the internet came out, and you had internet tycoons and the dot-com era, and people were able to build things from their bedroom with a laptop and develop innovations, projects. Kyle's built up businesses, you know, with multi-billion-dollar valuations from being remote work most of the time, right? Not having to have an institution or a set a process that's been around for 20 years. They've been able to innovate, to pioneer, and that's really what this space is bringing to everyone. So when I came into the space, I was overwhelmed with what was going on here. And I looked, you know, I'm a media person, right? I'm CEO and founder of Tech Talk Media and Impossible Media. We create award-winning TV shows for tier 1 broadcasters around the world in 80 countries. And we always cover emerging areas: AI, sustainability, robotics, female entrepreneurship, cannabis, all these kind of areas, you know, space travel, things that are changing our lives, and nobody really knows what's going on. So I was kind of sitting in the space here, enjoying it, collecting, getting involved in all these with these innovators and great pioneers and people educating and encouraging people. And I looked around and I realized no one really knows what's going on here. And that's really the same thing today. I would say it's evolved slightly over the last few months with brands and celebrities and lots of people getting in the space. But the market still is unknown to 99% of people around the world. So the figures that people use is around 2% of people interact with crypto. 2% of the population approximately interact with crypto. Now, a minute percentage of those crypto interactors actually know about NFTs. So you've really got the majority of the world not knowing about what's going on in this space. That's why this Metaverse Summit is so apparent today, right? And I felt it was my duty to create a TV series called NFT Me, just as you see on the wall here, NFT Me, that is our TV series that will be coming out in the next 2-3 months, that will educate the rest of the world on what's going on here, that will meet some of the pioneers, that will break down all the terminology. And that's what we're here today. So I won't talk too much myself. I want to talk around between us, but I really wanted to give some centrality to what we're talking about today. And the title of today's session is Discover the Creative Revolution, because that's the tagline of the TV show, because it's not just about money. It's not just about crypto punks and Bored Apes and blockchain, but it's about people who are creative and innovative and pioneering. Now is your time. You've got the resources. You've got the opportunity. There are no barriers. You can now thrive, and now is the time. And that's why we have all these sorts of amazing entrepreneurs with us. And we talked yesterday, Fesk, and Fesk said, well, you know, I'm in this room with these great entrepreneurs, and I'm the artist, I'm the designer, and everybody else is entrepreneur. I said, you know, Fesk, today we all have to be entrepreneurs, right? That's the thing about the NFT space. We're all everything. We have to acquire the skills for everything, get involved, and get started. So Kyle, follow on from what I'm saying, right? This NFT revolution.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been here since what, 2013? You said, man, you're killing it. So tell us something as a veteran.
I mean, it's such an exciting space, but just to reiterate what you said, I mean, you know, we have 300 million-ish crypto users. In DeFi, you have about 10%. In NFTs, you have 1% of that. It's extremely small. It might be even less than that. So something like 1 million users that are currently in this NFT space. But you know, it's really just the tip of the iceberg, and we're seeing this all happen, and it's such an exciting space. And I think, you know, you always want to be, for my whole entire life, I've always looked to see, you know, where are the waves, right? If I can just get in front of a wave and ride that wave, that's like going to be an awesome opportunity to just be a part of something like that. And of course, it happened with marketing, and I was in that wave as everybody was kind of like waking up to, oh, I need my business online. I got to run ads. I got to run Facebook and do all these things. And I was right there with that. And then, you know, I'm very fortunate to have very intelligent friends that, you know, encouraged me to get involved in the crypto space. And I kind of rode that wave now. And now you know, I'm just so fortunate to now be a part of the NFT space because, you know, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the forecasts of where we're going within just NFTs, it's so exciting because, you know, I just was the biggest preacher on cryptocurrency, and I just wanted everybody to get involved, but like trying to figure out how to get people involved and like where all these new users were going to come from, or why they were going to get involved. Like some just didn't understand it. They were like, I'm fine with this, whatever. But now with NFTs, it's going to onboard the next billion users absolutely through this, through events, through gaming, through play to earn opportunities. And then we're not even like talking about the enterprise side of things, which is also we've talked about in crypto for so long, whether that's like actual supply chain logistics and being able to track something from beginning to end, or that's like something like IP, which is really interesting, and the fractionalization of IP, and being able to create liquidity in places where currently money is very frozen or very difficult to you know, transact with. I think this will free up a lot of that capital, and it'll just increase the overall productivity growth of the world, which is why I'm so excited to be a part of this. So.
Absolutely, 100%. And just to add on to that, you know, I don't love the word wave because it defines that it's going to ride out right in a second. So I know you didn't mean it like that, but people always ask me, is the bubble going to burst? And I say to them, look, you know when you go and buy bubble gum, it comes in a wrapper and an outer wrapper. I haven't even taken the outer wrapper off yet. You're asking me, is the bubble going to burst? I said, well, you know, who knows, right? I mean, that might happen at some point. There might be a wave that's so big and that it will go down again. But right now, we're in the infancy of the market. There aren't no bubbles yet. Right now, everybody's still clambering to try to build resources. So there is an ocean of waves, right? There's an ocean of waves to ride. And that's what's quite exciting about this is, like you said, the leveling of the playing field. That in countries where it's banned from having activity, from holding a bank account, from having a credit card, from transacting, from being maybe a gay artist or a female artist or something that you're not allowed to express yourself in a way, and you're closed by those barriers, those barriers have really been broken down and you have access to these new markets. So I hope that will bring a lot more freedom and freedom of speech and freedom of creativity around the world. And we're certainly seeing a lot of opportunity come out of that. So you're 100% right. So Bridge, how are we going to get everybody to adopt it? How are we going to make it safe? How are we going to make it accountable for everybody?
Well, I just want to first comment on the original point of just looking at the market right now. NFTs surpassed crypto in terms of Google searches. I know that's a small sort of anecdotal point, but you know, last week or 2 weeks ago, when the market, both traditional equities and Bitcoin tanked, OpenSea had their second largest day in volume. So I think for all of us here, the we kind of conflate or, have the mindset NFT might be a PFP. We might have a sub bubble in PFPs, but the underlying NFT technology is just information plus ownership equals value, or however you want to do that. We saw, I'm in Miami, I believe yesterday, there was over 1,000 bids for a house in Tampa that was listed as an NFT. So in terms of this technology, I frankly don't believe we're going to see an NFT bubble because of the utility, the variety of use cases. I mean, just with the NFL, you're getting a souvenir ticket alongside that. But, we can expect there's, the PFP market is pretty frothy. So we might see sub bubbles within this new sector. But I think it's important to first address this as NFT as a whole is a revolutionary technology in terms of ownership and what that ownership assigns. So how do we, transitioning? How do we get people in?
I just want to reply to that and say, NFTs are not Bored Apes, right?
Right,
that's what NFTs are, right? That is an NFT that somebody made, and they'll forever talk about them. But NFTs are this principle of being able to transact, to being able to do it directly, to be able to own it, to be able to call the shots and control it. And it may not work in certain instances. There may be projects which are successful, and there may be projects which are unsuccessful, and they are not the be all and the end all of the NFT. The NFT is the eye opening that you can do something. And you have the ability to do it, and that's it. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. And just for that example of Bored Ape Yacht Club, it's what is that the underlying NFT technology enable now? It enables community to own a piece of a community. That's what the technology enables. Of course, it's an amazing visual of an ape, and all that. But what does the underlying tech actually do? And so that's what we're going to see play out in the context, of the house in Tampa being an NFT. What does that enable? It enables you to have those, immutable rights to that home now recorded. You can buy it virtually. So that's all it is. And I think that's, for the biggest takeaway for anybody new in the space, a Bored Ape, back to your point, is not, or an NFT does not equal just a Bored Ape. There's so much more to this technology. And then just, to comment on where you led off with the question, I know I diverted a bit, but how do we onboard, millions into this ecosystem? The user onboarding and that experience has to be intuitive in Web2 in the beginning, in designing products that, have trust, but that you can, herd or usher this new generation of users then deeper down the crypto rabbit hole, to give them the optionality if they want to transfer to, OpenSea or do index NFT, fractionalized, they can do that. But it's first starting with, reducing every barrier to entry as possible. And just for, we've embraced that. So getting away from MetaMask and we subsidize gas, these are the things that our goal is to onboard millions. And there's many other great projects doing the same thing that we're excited about. But this is the first step. You can't necessarily throw the kitchen sink of DeFi and NFTs, which I'm extremely bullish on. I love that, but the market's not ready for it. And I think it's very scary and it's not intuitive, right, at this stage, but it's inevitably going to come. It's just a matter of time.
100%. And look, the technology's still not there. Still, a lot of the resources are being built. I know that I'm going to go to Fesk in a second. He's going to tell you as an artist that there certainly is not the resources that you need necessarily to protect yourself, to control your art, to stop people stealing it. There's no invisible watermarking. There's no proof of ownership. There's no access to the ownership of the metadata and interoperability and all these things which kind of block us in certain ways from protecting us. When I create a TV series and I put it on Amazon Prime, if somebody goes to try to record the screen on Amazon Prime, they've got technology there, and Amazon is not my favorite company in the world, but they've got technology there that protects me, that blackens the screen when I try to screenshot it. Now, that's a small investment in technology that as a producer, as a creator, I'm protected, and we need those resources. And just to go back to what you were saying, Bridge, in one of my hats, I write for Entrepreneur Magazine, and I write about NFTs and this market and so on. And one of those articles was entitled, NFTs are the victim of non-friendly terminology.
Yes.
Right?
Nice.
NFT, non-friendly terminology, because you've got gas and burning and minting and like, what? Right? Why didn't why wasn't it friendly terms? So a lot of the barrier today is not only that the technology isn't yet ready 100% and isn't as streamlined as PayPal is, and kind of all these platforms we use, Facebook and so on. And Facebook's not my favorite company either. So, but we're not yet there with the technology, and the market doesn't know what's going on, and also the terminology is not the friendliest. So part of my job is to fix those things, is to make it understandable and tangible, and the rest of our job. So I think when we break down those barriers, we enhance the technology, we enhance the access to the information, and we make everything a lot friendlier. It's easier to sort of get people in there. So Fesk, I mean, feel free to contribute to anything we've said so far, but I'd love to hear also your point about really speaking from the artist, the creator's point of view. A lot of us here are entrepreneurs, right? Or marketeers or businessmen, right? And I know that you are as well. But from a creator's point of view, you know, what have you found in the market? What are you looking forward to? What's going to take it to the next stage?
Well, 100%. I would love to circle back a little bit on the freedom of creativity point, because like it's everything. You know, before NFTs, the independent artists like me would basically do personal work to post on social media, get a little bit of eyes on our work, and hopefully get a job out of that. So now NFTs enabled us digital artists to monetize on our own work. So this alone is like a revolution per se. So like I know countless of artists that from the past year managed to stop doing freelance work and only focus on their personal work, which is amazing. So I really believe that NFTs as a whole it's like enabling a revolution in terms of creativity. Because like us artists, if we are not pressured on deadlines and we have to deliver and execute on visions from someone else, we can actually focus on creating something that has never done before, for example. So, and this alone, I think it's an extremely important revolution. And to touch on the point that like the NFT space is not super welcoming when it comes to like the complexity of stuff, man, like for artists, it's not easy at all. Like maybe it was a little bit easier for me because before being a full-time artist, I was a programmer. So I kind of knew what I was doing I managed to read like a smart contract per se, understand what was going on, the different like standards and stuff. But for the general like artist, there's a lot that can be done when it comes to user experience to enable more and more artists to use this technology and further enhance like the overall creativity revolution that I talked about.
Amazing. And you're 100% right. And, you know, I asked that question a little bit knowing myself as well. I did an art and design foundation and my major was in architecture. So I'm a designer, I'm an artist myself, and I came into the market as a creator. And I was shocked at some of these platforms, the way they look, the way they work, right? I mean, did they realize that artists are going to be using this, or did they think someone else was going to be using it, right? But it is quite shocking to some level, but you realize it's a new market. And I think the best thing, and one thing we haven't talked about is how does this all come around? I mean, Kyle mentioned it before, right? He said how people weren't interested in blockchain before and then NFTs, and they are. But just to elaborate on that a little bit, what happened, right? We had this COVID pandemic. We're still sort of in it to some level, right? And everybody was kind of divided, put to remote work, remote living, isolation, couldn't go to work, couldn't have a social life. There was like political division almost everywhere in the world, right? People kind of getting divided and polarized. So we were all kind of, you know, left in this position. We're home, we're looking for something to attach to. What do we have? We have retro VR technology. We have blockchain technology, which has been sitting here for 10 years. We have Zoom and Microsoft Teams, which nobody's used for the last 10 years, right? And all these things are kind of just sitting in front of us. And all of a sudden, Beeple sells his piece for $69 million and everybody hears about it, right? And they all go, cha-ching, cha-ching, wait, is there something here I'm missing? Somebody earned $70 million from a digital piece of art. You know, I want to know what's going on. And that created a revolution, where people actually cared about those resources that we had already. And that spiraled the engagement and the attention of the world into NFTs and blockchain. And that was a great thing because it was redundant because we didn't care about it enough. And we just need to know that it was there and we wanted to use it. It's like having a beautiful car in the garage downstairs and you didn't realize there was a garage door there. You'd walk past it every day and walk to work. And you had a nice Ferrari sitting in the garage, downstairs. You didn't know there was a door there. So this was an industry and technologies that were kind of there, sitting there, and they were available to us 10 years ago, but only now they became relevant. Now they became apparent. And all of a sudden, with all of that energy, with all that passion, with all of that engagement, it's brought the revolution that we're talking about now, which is the mass of people that are now involved in it. The $5 billion of trade that OpenSea is doing monthly, right? Which is just unprecedented. I think we're overdoing the entire traditional art market, right? Now in NFTs, right? And only in its first, its first stepping stone. So there is a crazy revolution going on here, just as Fess said. So I spent time in auction rooms. I spent time in collectors' rooms, educating people on NFTs and blockchain. So I've seen thousands and thousands of artists come into the space, and I've seen people change their destiny from being able to be creative. And myself becoming an entrepreneur for many years and forgetting about my creative side, I forgot to look at the beauty of the world. And since coming into NFTs, I now walk around and see the graffiti. I see the buildings again. It opened my eyes to the beauty of the world because I'm studying beauty and creativity again. And it became important. So there's a lot of social and creative and environmental changes that are coming. They're impacting the world in a positive way. And as I said before, it's not just about a Bored Ape JPEG or any other particularly one project or resource or collection, but it's about the concept. It's about the relationship. It's about the way we communicate and we react with each other, and we help and educate and align and support. And we're not necessarily competing. We're all working to a common development. I think it's very, very, very exciting. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely true.
So let's talk about what we're going to do. We've got about 15 minutes left of this session. Let's talk about what each of you are going to do specifically to take this market forwards. Okay, you talked about a bit your background. Let's talk about specifically projects that you're going to do or things that you're going to get involved with that we're going to be taking the market forward so that people watching can know to get involved, to collaborate with you, and to further the market even more. So Kyle, why don't you go first?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, with the domain NFT.com, we have a lot of responsibility to fulfill, but we will be doing our best. And I think as Bridge kind of mentioned earlier, the coolest part about NFTs is the ability that it's a whole community, right? And that's kind of what we're working towards at NFT.com. But I think there's a lot of need for accurate price data. We still have a lot of segregation. We have a lot of problems with price discovery. We have problems with potentially wash trading, things of this nature that are all being solved. We have, just education in general. As we've been talking, this is just such a huge key piece to everything. It's like, I remember the first time I had Ethereum, I was looking at this public-private key and I was like, what is this? But we need to further spec out that path from what is a brand new user and what's the easiest thing for them to understand, and slowly, step by step, bring them more into the more, as Fess said, he has a programming background. So he understood that, but not everyone does. So we have to make that path as easy as possible for people to understand. And talking about the wave again, the demand for just consultants in this space is mind-blowing. You could easily be making millions of dollars right now just consulting companies on how to understand the NFT space. You could literally just go to companies and give a presentation and they'll pay you money to do it because they don't have the time to do the research and they just don't have the know-how. And frankly, it only being a 1 or maybe 2 year kind of space, there aren't really many experts out there or people that are even confident enough to go do that. So, the opportunities are huge, and we're going to spend time where the market is demanding us to give back. And that's the main thing for us, is that we want to build this ecosystem the right way, and be able to educate, everyone from end to end, basically. So that's what I'd say.
Love it. Beautiful and spot on. So definitely keep watching on NFT.com. There is big things coming. He won't even tell me. So I've been asking him. He's got a top secret project going on there. And as you heard, Carl is really pioneering. You've heard he's been here quite a while. He's already had some successful ventures in the space, and he's not on his first rodeo here. So there is exciting things brewing on there, and we're excited to see them. Thanks so much for that. Bridge?
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. So the original question is how we're contributing, correct, to the onboarding. Yeah. So getting back to it, we built a generalizable, API solution infrastructure focused NFT company that provides white label solutions for big brands, organizations to mint, and for the users to easily onboard and buy their first collectible. We've structured this first iteration to be that first collectible. So we encourage, low cost, high volume, get them in. And so with our target market, we have tennis leagues and athletes using our white label side, but the Artera marketplace itself is this aggregate solely focused exclusively on esports and gaming content creation collectibles. So from the fan perspective, it's easier for discovery and curation. But why we chose this market is because it's a massive global audience. One of our headliner teams, that one of 15 that will do their first drop in the coming weeks, is Complexity. And within their network, they collectively have about 350 million in aggregate, audience. So if we, just conservatively convert 10% as just a first user to onboard, we have to be scalable. We have to have this in mind that we are addressing the mass audience here. So that's why we've doubled down on making this first iteration of the platform seamless. So adapting the Stripe API to fiat first, being on Near is climate neutral. So we've listened to this market first. There's been some FUD, but we've taken a long time to listen to these fans, and we approach this solely from the fan perspective. We're a fan-centric company and platform. So with that being said, it's, we're advising and working with our organizations and saying, look, this is a long-term opportunity. Do not view this as a cash grab. Use this as a new tool in your fan engagement toolbox, and you'll see amazing things come from that. And they've really taken it to heart. You said NFT is the bad terminology. We completely stray away from that. We refer in branding with our teams, it's digital collectible, and even moving beyond that, it's not a wallet, it's a fandom passport. So that now these fans can collect it. If they are watching their favorite streamer and they pop up a QR code, they can claim that in real time. That's proof of attendance. That's proof of history of your fandom. And we haven't seen that yet when, whether it's the Twitch or YouTube gamings, when you subscribe $10, $15, $25 a month recurring to express your fandom in that sense, what do you get? You get an emote, but that's a status symbol. So for the first time now, in a digital collectible, the fandom passport, these fans can own their fandom, and the utility that's going to be unlocked there is going to be extremely exciting. But with what we built right now, and we're very excited to release this, it's a very simple onboarding process, and we knew we had to do this in a scalable way just to meet the demand of what we're expecting from our early adopter team. So we're excited to be that your first collectible, and then our job is to go as a company service these teams in their needs. So if they want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, it's our position and our service to allow that. So that's kind of our vision and mission there.
That's awesome. And I think that really is continues on from what Carl was talking about. Carl talked about how there's a wide open market for consultants here. And Carl, just in response to that, I opened up a consultancy for that reason, right? I had so many people asking for help, and I realized that there was this need for experts. But that's exactly what Bridge is doing. Bridge is specializing in an area, and he's breaking down the barrier and the terminology for a major industry. So, there's a major industry. They're doing well anyway. They interact electronically, a lot of those events and tickets and so on anyway. So they've kind of already got this kind of remote engagement with their customers. But you hear the word NFT and gas and minting and blockchain, and they all cringe, right? They haven't got a clue what's going on. So what Bridge's company's done is they've focused on a particular niche area, and they've provided the resources for them. And then they have an accountable service provider who can break down all the terminology, who maybe doesn't even use that terminology, right? Use nicer terminology, which makes a lot of sense, right? And then you make that market easier for them to transition into NFTs, into blockchain. And it's kind of like when we're going to talk to Fesk. I didn't even realize, but it's transitioning also to Fesk, because that's exactly what Fesk has done. Fesk has taken major brands and walked with them, holding their hand into the NFT space, because that's what people need right now. It is a scary market. It's an unknown space. There isn't Amazon Web Services. There isn't certain resources here that you can fall back on to know that in the centralized world, you're used to these things. These are the exact things we have here. It's a different market. And, I don't love the whole decentralized, centralized mentality. I like somewhere in the middle. I like the fact that people are looking for a way to not go through the traditional means. But I think if we try change the whole world from being a centralized world to a decentralized world, then you're not going to make everybody happy. So that the future is a combination of those two, right? It's a combination of a decentralized, centralized world that everybody has access to and everybody can play a part in. And that's what really the marriage is here. So it's great to hear that, Bridge. It's great to hear that you're focusing on the esports market. That's obviously why you've been successful with Artera, and you're specializing in that space. And no doubt you'll expand to many more regions and probably some other industries afterwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Fest, tell us about working with Nissan. Tell us about how hard that is. Tell us about how you're going to use that experience to, bring other brands in and to take this whole creative revolution forwards.
Yeah, 100%. I would love to extend the point of doing consultancy for these companies, because most of them have no idea what's going on. So much like what I did with Nissan, where they approached me with kind of a blank canvas. They knew what they were doing a little bit, but I kind of needed to shape that out a little bit. I'm currently talking with both ticketing and events company and fashion companies down here in Brazil, and trying to, let me explain what NFT is about, the different possibilities, and just don't grab an artist, drop an NFT at a simple auction and call it a day. There are so many things that you can do in smart ways to kind of work with your customer and introduce the technology in a more easy way for them, to teach them for the long haul, instead of just doing an auction, calling it a day. So with the experience that I got from Nissan and the experience in this space for the past few years, I much like talking with a bunch of brands and helping them in how to approach this space in a more suitable way, per se.
That's obviously why you've been successful, and as you said before, they really don't have the know-how or the knowledge, which is a showstopper, effectively, right? A brand doesn't have the knowledge or the resources or the know-how, they're not going to go in the space. And that's just a great shame, because there's a lot of opportunity here. As I think, as Bridge was saying, right, there's companies like Panini and Vivi, right, who have transitioned from the traditional world of having fans and collectibles, and they've taken large name brands and collectibles and brought them to the NFT space in a trusted, secure environment that works for them, right? It might not be my ideal solution or someone else's, but it works, and they're doing billions of dollars in transactions and been very successful on blockchain. Some of them with their own coin, some of them, with their own market, and it's very, very interesting space. And as we've been talking about in this space here for the last year, really, is the market will change when the major brands get here. Why is that? That's not because we need them here. It's just the sheer size of the resources and the user bases they bring with them. It's the sheer size of the marketing budgets that they spend on television and around the world to educate people, to entice them, to engage them, to come into the space that changes the market here. So what we've heard from today is, you know, 3 amazing entrepreneurs and pioneers who are leading the way in 3 totally different directions, right? And that's the amazing thing about this space, is it's so vast and it's so deep, and we haven't even got started yet. We are really at the cusps of what's going on here. So Kyle is a veteran, right? And so is Bridge. They've been here for a long while in the space, right? But really, and they'll vouch for this, over the last 2 years is when things really started to change, that the rest of the world woke up to what they were working on so long. They became interested, encouraged by it, right? And they realized the value that it's going to bring to the rest of the world. So this is certainly my mission, to take this creative revolution and create the educational and information channel to the rest of the world. And we broadcast, as I said before, on tier 1 channels in 80+ countries around the world. We produce for Amazon, Apple, Discovery, Roku, CNBC, you name it, we produce for them. And our aim is to take this exact story, what we're hearing today from real pioneers, what we're doing breaking down the technology, what we're doing by holding people's hands and creating a stepping stone so that it's easier for other people to come in the space, for other people to find their right niche, to find their opportunity, to understand all of the resources, to understand what's available to them, and for all of them to flourish. And I think when everybody else finds out exactly what's going on in this space, when everybody else gets in here, when some of the other brands and the major corporations build those resources and spend the money, you're going to see a vastly different market. This is going to look like the old days of having the dial-up modem with the internet that used to go do, 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 and you had to wait 30 seconds to connect, right? This is what we are at right now. And 3 to 5 years time in this space is going to be an immersive 8K metaversal experience. We're probably going to have more projectors, more projection mapping. We're going to have screens on the walls, screens on the windows, right? We're going to have mobile phones that project and open up. The world is going to be a vastly different place, but it's very exciting. It's very inviting to everybody. And the beauty about the NFT space is everybody's welcome. There's opportunity for everyone. Just get stuck in, collaborate, learn, communicate, and the world is your oyster. So thank you so much, guys, for participating in the first session today. That brings us to the end of our first session, NFTs, Discovering the Creative Revolution. We've heard from Fesk, Carl, and Bridge today about how NFTs are changing the world. So keep watching this space. Keep following the sessions that are going on today, and make sure you follow the speakers that are here today. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a great rest of the day.
Take care.